Hello and welcome back to the Wine Stains Podcast, a place for unfiltered conversations about life and business. Today, we are going to be talking about a literal and figurative mountain I'll be climbing next week, core values, what we've been reading, what we're up to, all that and more on this week's episode of Wine Stains.
Hello and welcome to the Wine Stains Podcast. I'm Kaitlyn.
And I'm Connor.
Collectively, we're known as
The Parkers.
We're husband and wife, business owners, and multi-passionate people here to discuss life, travel, entrepreneurship, and the beauty of wine stains.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of Wine Stains.
Welcome back, everybody. We are now on the third episode of season 2, quote unquote, if you will. And it looks like we might be headed back towards some of our old ways a little bit.
What the? Oh man, life as a copywriter, when you're used to being behind the screen and not ever having anyone hear your voice and just using your fingers, it's a weird transition to go into the podcasting world.
What are you talking about?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to season 2.
I always do that though, even on when I do my weekly See You at Brunch, the Instagram live series that I do. Every single time before I start, I tell myself, don't say hey everybody or like hello everybody. And what do I say every single time? Hello everybody.
Hello everybody, how are you?
I don't know what else to say. Anyways, but what I meant by that was in episode 6, we were, it was very focused. It was 30 minutes. We were like, yeah, this is the new us. And then episode 7, we kind of talked about, I don't know, a bunch of random topics. It was a little bit longer, but I had fun in episode 7. So we'll just see what happens today.
How about we just get down to the point? So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about what you have going on next week. That was in true Connor and Kaitlyn and Wine Stains fashion, very spontaneous. So what are you doing next week, Connor?
So a group that I'm a part of that helps out with a lot of back office thingamabobs for my business, they had an employee not too long ago commit suicide. And this was, the typical life of the party guy, always had a positive attitude, smile on his face, 3 kids, the whole 9. Well, what the company ended up doing was creating a foundation called the Jones Project. And you can go to thejonesproject.org. And essentially what it is, it's a foundation set up to bring awareness to mental health. And it's founded in memory of Josh Jones. And this is right from their website. The Jones Project aims to change the way we talk about, treat, and ultimately triumph over mental health issues. You can read more about Josh and his story and more about the Jones Project there. But one of the things that the group of people that I'm involved with are doing to raise money for the Jones Project is something called the 29029 Challenge. And the 29029 Challenge, they posted about it on Facebook. And I texted one of my buddies like, hey, what is this 29029 Challenge? I saw that it was like you could run around your neighborhood, basically, I thought is what it was, and reach like 5 miles or whatever it was, and contribute to the fund and basically say that you did it. Well, apparently I was wrong, and the 29029 Challenge, and if you are a fan of like Jesse Itzler, he's a self-made billionaire, but he's also married to the lady who invented Spanx.
You have us on the edge of our seats.
In what regard?
Into finding out what it is.
That's called building a story, okay? That's how I let the beat build. Mm-hmm. And as I hit the kill switch, okay, I just had a Lil Wayne flashback, and that is not. I saw a video on Instagram. It was Joe Burrow.
Please tell us what it is.
And they go, hey, Joe, what you listening to? And Joe Burrow goes, a lot of old school Gunna. And just like, it's hilarious how we talk and pronounce. Anyway, so texted him about it, and he's like, yeah, 29029 Challenge. And basically what it is there's multiple events throughout the year, but you have 36 hours to reach 29,029 feet, which is the equivalent height of Mount Everest. So 36 hours, 29,029 feet. And it's taking place, or at least the first one, what I'm doing is in Utah, next Thursday, I fly out to do the challenge on Friday and Saturday. But the funny thing is, I'm an alternate to the group they've been training for months, if not a year now. And a guy backed out named Barry, and they already had all these T-shirts, I guess, made and all this whatever. And so I'll be rocking around with shirts and being called Barry all during the event. So that's what I'm doing next week. Yeah,
which is pretty cool and exciting because you've never done anything like this, right?
What do you mean, never done anything like this? I have hiked up Mount Trashmore many times.
Like a big sort of outdoorsy
challenge.
Like
a physical challenge. Yeah. Like I've not ever done a physical, like I once upon a time was like super into CrossFit and did like the CrossFit Open workouts, but this is something that, it's obviously benefiting and bringing awareness to the Jones Project. And I'm honestly honored to be a part of it. I think it sold out in less than 24 hours. And the fact that I was able to grab a spot, but it was one of those things where my friend, we were texting and I was like, well, just give me the weekend before I commit to doing this to kind of gauge my physical fitness level. And the thing with being in Virginia Beach, we're at zero, like we're right at sea level. And Utah base camp of this mountain, because essentially you go up a mountain 13 times. So you summit to the top and then gondola down, summit to the top. So you have to go up, 13 times within 36 hours. So the base camp is at 6,700 feet. And I think you get up to 8,700 feet, which we were in Telluride last July. And I think Telluride's at 9,000 feet. I almost had a heart attack 5 minutes into a hike then. And so all that to say, I'm not quite sure what I'm getting myself into. But I've been killing it on the Stairmaster to try to be prepared for this. So there we go.
A lot of Stairmaster, a lot of treadmill, a lot of walking around, working out for hours and getting it in real last minute. But like you said, it's for a great cause. And the point is to just support the cause and see what you can do. But it got us talking, and I think got you really talking about because the other cool thing about this group that you're doing it with is they put out just so many resources. And so they've been providing a lot of from packing lists to preparation and mindset related stuff that has just gotten you thinking more about other types of challenges that you would want to do and some of the goals that you may have.
I'm basically ready for the CrossFit Games. I think I've decided that I am coming after Justin Medeiros, his back-to-back champion gold medal winning self. I think I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you can, go try that and let us know how that goes as well.
Well, I won't have to tell you because I let my walk do my talking for me.
Okay.
I put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
You heard?
Well, anyhow, so I will be holding down the fort with the Dodge Man and working on some internal projects, but I'm really excited to see how that goes for you. And I think, again, it was just one of those things that was like, okay, what else can we maybe do after this? Of course, hoping that everything goes good and you actually like the experience. But I think it just got you.
Well, I think I'm slowly turning into one of those guys that who doesn't really drink. And then these guys are the worst sometimes, but their drug is exercise or their drug is the outdoors. Or I'm getting high on life, man. And it's I've found great joy in this journey for myself, and I'm just so glad to be able to bring you all along for the ride.
Well said. And
this is where I wish I was better at the socials where, sort of documenting the 2902. It's a big deal. I can't, it's a very big deal. This is a challenge. Again, it sold out in 24 hours, and the one that we're doing is Snow Basin, I think, so Snow Basin number 1 in Utah, and then there's one at number 2. So I think they're mostly in Utah, but then they go to Whistler and then Stratton. But it's cool, even if you don't make it 13 times up, 9 equals the height of Kilimanjaro, and they kind of equate it to the different mountains. And so, again, because I'm coming in late, the team has also had these coaching calls and, put a lot of thought and effort. I'm just showing up basically hey guys, ready to go up a mountain? And,
but I think it's cool and coming at a really great time because like we talked about in episode 6, you've made a lot of lifestyle changes. So no, you haven't been training for the past year, which, obviously would only help, and you'll see how it goes. But at the same time, the fact that you had been kind of prioritizing your health over the past 8 to 9 months.
I was born ready. I mean, I don't mean to talk a big game.
I'm trying
now.
to like be nice, and then you're just making light of it.
Well, I get off that Stairmaster thinking I could climb the Empire State Building right now without probably breaking a sweat. I'm just ready for this. And the cool thing is, so like Jesse Itzler, because he's one of the guys that puts it on or is hosting the event. And again, he's married to the Spanx lady, but is a self-made billionaire, I think, within his own right. But I listened to Jesse Itzler, I think, for the first time on some podcast years ago. And I actually was looking back through my journals, and I have it in my desk, but him talking about mindset, it was like right before I launched my business, my financial planning practice, and just talking about mindset and growth and being goals oriented. And he's like one of those gurus in that space. And so I'm just really excited to get out there and hear him talk. There's like also other guys that'll be out there. I believe the guy that was the first dude or person to trek across Antarctica solo without any resupply will be there.
Wow.
So basically him and I are kind of in the same playing field from an athletic perspective, an endurance athlete, because, well, and you know what, you might laugh at this, but the cool thing about, I just was listening to one of the recorded trainings trying to catch up. They tell you to put yourself in the mindset of like, you are an endurance athlete, like you have to see yourself as an endurance athlete before this challenge, because, it's one of those things where, the first couple miles, you're like, whatever. And then you reach that point where it does become about mindset. And I'm just ready to freaking roll, man. The more I talk about it, I read a book or listened to a book on Audible this past week called Scars and Stripes by a dude named Tim Kennedy, which is the unapologetically American story about fighting the Taliban, UFC champions, and myself. I believe that's what it is. And that book, just reading about his story and his life to being a Green Beret and taking out bad guys and fighting UFC champions and all the stuff that he had to go through. I mean, it just has been firing me up. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm getting fired up to take on this challenge. And I'm just doing this for the USA, man.
I love it. Well,
just doing it for the USA.
I think it's like you don't know what you can do until you try. And a lot of this is, I think, you getting the feeling of like, wow, I'm finally doing something way outside of my comfort zone. Like, you've done a lot of stuff outside of your comfort zone, maybe business or work-wise. But on this front, it's just cool to start seeing the growth that comes from putting ourselves in those environments and then establishing like a new baseline, like how will I fare in these types of things and what do I potentially want to do next from there? And it's motivated me a little bit more too. But I think that comes with any physical challenge. Like I've been playing a lot of tennis this spring, and even though when I'm out there and I'm playing, I feel good and I feel like I am learning and growing every single time I play. When I go to play the next time, I still get that little bit of nerves each time, where you just don't know how you're going to do. And so I think that is like an exciting place to be in where you feel like you're working at something new or for the first time, and you have to overcome those nerves every single time.
But when you have a goal in mind too, and I've never had a physical fitness goal. Well, like I've always had goals like weight wise, but like preparing for a challenge is different than preparing to look good in a bathing suit. Where this has really motivated me, where if I didn't have something to work towards, then I would be sitting on my butt, you know what I mean? So it's just been pretty cool. And of course you can correlate that to life stuff too, where you gotta dangle that proverbial carrot in front of yourself. Sometimes you have to be working towards something, and we'll see how far we get on the mountain. You can sponsor me no, I'm just joking.
I think, that's what I was trying to get at, was basically like, sometimes it takes just actually like you just agreeing to go to this, or like signing up for the race, showing up to the run club. Like for me, it was enrolling in a tennis league this spring and like, being accountable to my team members to actually show up and play. And sometimes we need that accountability or that little bit of a push rather than just like, okay, go to the gym on Thursday. And you're like, but I can't get like an immediate sense of where I'm going with this other than, like you said, just appearance.
Well, and the community aspect too, where there's a group of like 25 people that are in this text chain. They're motivating you. They're making you want to run through a freaking wall because they're excited for it. When other people are excited for it, it brings me back to when we played sports, right? Yeah. I mean, and I never quite liked the analogy or just, how people, just because they're athletes, when they become like these motivational speakers, just because they played sport or whatever. But when you actually break open that egg or peel back the layers of that, there are so many freaking things that happen in sports that you can apply to your life. And I forget that at once upon a time, I was a wannabe athlete. And now that we're both in the business world, it's nice to kind of take a step back and be like, oh, remember, like, just how much we grew as people by playing sports.
Yeah.
And that, but again, coming back to that community aspect where you have people in your corner, and you and I tend to fly solo on a lot of life stuff. And so this is just, it's been a really cool thing for me to go through. And of course, it's only been like a week, but again, I feel so freaking pumped up and rejuvenated or whatever. But the community aspect for you in tennis, of having, girls that you play with that are excited about it and can bring you up out of that funk.
Totally. And just being reminded of like the mind-body connection. And that's like even how writing started for me, was when I used to do more endurance running and would like get creatively inspired while I was running, and then it's been like over the past few years, if things have gotten busier, I'm not always as quick to go and do stuff like that or to stay consistent.
Well, then you got injured
Yeah, I got injured. There's a lot of reasons and factors, but it's exciting when you start feeling like both your mind and your body are firing and clicking and things are working together again. And sometimes it takes signing up for something that feels scary or doing something outside of your comfort zone to try to start feeling that momentum again.
You just got to go, man.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. Like some things, you just got to rip the freaking Band-Aid off and say, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I got to I don't know where I'm going, but I got to get up out of here.
Yeah.
I can't stay where I'm at. I'll tell you that. And
we'll
for me,
praying and rooting you on, and obviously we'll share all about it when you get back too. But I think it also became part of a deeper conversation. And in episode 7, we talked all about books and reading, which is like obviously it's like
turning into our book club.
We're like pulling our heads out of like the sand or something and getting back into a lot of stuff that we love.
You know that there's these things called books?
And
they help you learn things.
Fitness challenges. Like what have we been doing?
Become a smarter person.
Anyhow, but because we went on another Barnes & Noble excursion on our like weekly date night last week, and you bought a new book called Traction, right?
Yeah, I bought a book called Traction by Gino Wickman. And I will say I 10 out of 10 recommend. So it's all about getting a grip on your business. I've heard this recommended, so many times over the course of my career, but it's always been one of those things that I get to. And so we went to Barnes & Noble, and we were looking in the business section, and I feel like I was getting to that point where I was just going to buy a book or whatever. And I literally was like, God, just show me a book that I could buy. And boom, out of nowhere is Traction. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've seen that so many times. So I bought it, and I have absolutely been loving it. I'm almost done on I'm pretty much done. I think I'm on the last, couple pages. But one of the things that really struck out to me, in terms of being a business owner and, wearing the multiple hats on a day-to-day basis, one of the first things he talks about is vision, and having a vision for your company, which starts with your core values. And this is playing along into, even with the situation with the hike that's coming up, where core values as a person for me and Kaitlyn also is health, or, health for us is very, very important. And it got me thinking in business. Anyway, the core values are something that I've been working through, and I believe I actually nailed them down for my company, which they really act as a guiding light to your business, or the lighthouse when things are getting crazy and the storms are raging. You can fall back to these core values to remind yourself of why you do what you do, and what's ultimately going to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And I don't know if you want me to share.
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to have
my copy uncorked ones too.
Okay, so I'll start with my core values within PFG, and the first one is balance. So what I wrote underneath balance is, valuable output is the greatest measure, not the hours put in. So essentially, I guess you could rephrase that to say efficiency is the most important thing, right? It doesn't matter if you work 13 or 15 hours, what did you get done? So valuable output is the greatest metric. Work smart and get the job done right. give back. So under balance here. And then personal health and wellness, right? So having this balance, which again, as a business owner, you talk about health and wellness. Well, what's the first thing to go when you start your own business is usually your health and mental, your physical health and your mental health, because your entire being is wrapped up within this entity called your business. And you know that if it doesn't work, you're not going to be able to make money. And if you don't make money, you don't pay the bills. If you don't pay the bills, you're out on the street.
And you just can't stop it. It just feels like this ball that's you suddenly put in motion. And
you're always on.
Like, I don't know, how do I slow this down?
Yeah, you're always on. And I think where, if I could go back, I would have made personal health and wellness more of, if not the same priority as, the making money, right? Because without the health and wellness, you're not able to show up. And if you can't show up, then you don't have a business. And, for me, especially in my world of finance, it's go, 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 go. I mean, it's an ever changing world with markets and everything, right? So it's a million miles a minute. And you get so caught up in the dollar signs, and you think that the dollar signs are the most important thing, and that will come, if you do the right things, but you got to take care of yourself. So balance, being personal health and wellness, and then also foster an environment of community. So, Kaitlyn runs a virtual team, but has a person here. Look, and we'll go back and forth. I'll share one and you share one. I have 4. How many do you have?
I have 4. That was a big one, though.
So foster an environment of community. And for me, so Kaitlyn's got a virtual team and one person locally. I have one person locally looking to hire some more folks. And then I've got a virtual network across the country here. But fostering that community where you're not, number one, you're not just on an island. If you are a solopreneur and it's just you, well, get into the groups, get in the Facebook groups, find another community of business owners, jump into the Weinstein's community. Who knows? That might be a thing at some point. Write that down. But fostering environment and community, to have that balance, to have people in your corner, picking you up when you're feeling down, and also just somebody or somebody to talk to about your challenges that are unique to business owners, especially if you're the only business owner in your family or the only business owner in your friend group. It can be quite the lonely island. And, and I'm sorry for harping on this, but the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking about the Jones Project and mental health. And
that's kind of the beauty of like actually sitting down and thinking through core values, is you start seeing them as like this golden thread that really is woven through every part of your business and your life. And like you said, it allows you to make more informed and more purposeful decisions, because in moments of indecision, you can come back to your core values and say, okay, what does someone who values balance do? What decision would they make? What does this actually look like in practice and not just in theory? And so it's something that even when we're working with clients and we're writing copy, we think about that a lot. We establish these core values, and then the language that we use, the way that we write and strategize the site, the recommendations that we make, even on a visual side of things, all come back to what they ultimately believe and hold closest to their chest. So it's exciting when you start being like, wow, these are such common recurring themes in my life.
Mm-hmm. So that's my first one, balance. You try to steal it, but I'm not going to let you.
Oh, please. Okay, my first one, mine are a little different. They're written much like a copywriter, so they're phrases. And our first one is remain steadfast. So the description of that is simply, we work with dedication and resilience, follow our intuition, and remain resolute in both word and deed. And so I love this one because steadfast kind of has faith undertones for me. And I think similarly in the online world, it can be really easy to get sucked in, to compare yourself, for trends to always be changing, to think that you need to switch up your entire business model overnight. And remaining steadfast just reminds me to stay grounded for myself, to stay grounded as a leader, and that we're just really staying rooted in why we started and all of those types of things. And then really kind of a different way of saying integrity, because I think integrity is a non-negotiable, no-brainer core value. But just really being known for doing what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it.
Good. I was just laughing at your cute little smile there. Okay, awesome. I mean, that was okay, I guess. So, no, very good. And just kind of harping through these a little bit more. So balance.
Second one?
No, for you.
Remain steadfast.
Remain steadfast. And so this is kind of picking up along the same veins. My second core value is the spirit of excellence. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. Using we language instead of me language, right? And it's been difficult to transition for me in bringing on employees where, my company or, hey, check out my website versus no, when you bring people into the fold, our website, hey, our team, our company culture. So using we language and really, reputation over profit. And I thought you held that up as if you had that too, but reputation over profit. It's something that I tell folks all the time. I want to be in business a really long time. And in order to do that, you have to help a lot of people, and you help a lot of people by doing the right thing. And, more often times than not, and this is just kind of how the cookie crumbles, in my business, where I'm not able to help everybody that comes into my office. And I'll just put you this way, reputation over profit, because what's done, I was thinking of the Bible verse, I think something to the effect of like, what's done in secret will be made public. And people think that they can get away with things, but at some point, whether in this life or the next, we will see. But I don't really know where I'm going with that, and I didn't mean to even go. That kind of sounded weird a little bit, like I had some vendetta. But how you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm just reading off my notes here. Again, we language and reputation over profit. So spirit of excellence, even down to the fact of making sure that you're vacuuming your office, And really, the spirit of excellence comes back, and that was a
vacuum for our house.
Can't have it. This was something that came out of my going through like Bible college, right? It was something that was engraved into a spirit of excellence. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Where that piece of paper that you drop that is there. Go back, pick it up, and I don't know. I could harp on that more, but for your time's sake, there you go.
That's been a big theme for you for pretty much your entire career and work life, even outside of what you do now. Okay, our second one is simply make it fun. The description is we strive to make fun a part of the equation, never sacrificing joy for achievement, and believe that a glass of wine is always better when it's shared in good company. This core value is really for me.
Whether or not your other company's drinking or not, of course.
Yeah.
Like last night.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this one is really kind of a reminder for me as an Enneagram 3. I can be very task oriented and kind of achievement focused, doing the next thing. And I have to remember to have fun for myself, to make it fun for the team members, to bring people in. It's always so much more rewarding when we do that. And so I love that our wine theme just kind of reminds me to take things slow sometimes and just enjoy the finer and simpler things of life. So yeah, figuring out ways that we can just make the process fun.
Make it fun.
Make it fun.
Because girls just want to have fun, but guys want to have fun too. So the next one is growth mindset. So always, and here's the thing with that's been a big buzzword for quite some time, growth mindset, and it's probably been overplayed, and people are probably sick of hearing about it because it could, when you hear growth mindset, you might think, well, I can't fail, but literally right under growth mindset, I said always falling forward. The more we grow, the better we become. Oh, I think this is right out of the book. So he was quoting someone, but the more we grow, the better we become. And the better we become, the more people that we can help. The more people that we can help, the more successful we become. So that's pretty cool. Not afraid to fail, have a creative and challenging environment, and always having a problem-solving approach. So if you have a problem and you have that sort of approach where you're going to throw everything out there, you're going to get it on the whiteboard, people are shouting out ideas, the saying, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Well, I don't know that there's any, I was trying to equate that. There's no such thing as a dumb potential way to approach a problem, So I think back in my book, I talk about Gene Kranz in the movie Apollo 13 or Apollo 11. Gosh, I always get those mixed up. He goes, I suggest you fellas figure out a way to put a square peg through a round hole. Mm-hmm. It's a great scene. And that's actually how I view problem solving. So what seems maybe even impossible, like putting a square peg through a round hole, guess what? I'll be darned, they did it, and they brought those boys home.
Yeah, I like it.
Growth mindset.
Okay, our third one is be innovative. We bring a fresh angle to each industry and project by nurturing our creativity, furthering our knowledge, and replacing the mundane with something more imaginative. Our work stands out and achieves enduring results. And this one I love because
I need you to break down mine into how you're reading them, because those sound much better. I just have bullet points under mine.
I try to keep them really short and memorable, but be innovative is important to me because, once again, this creative industry, you see a lot of trends. It's easy to get discouraged. We take very seriously the work that we do to make sure that we're differentiating each client. And even when we're creating stuff for ourselves, I just love that this core value forces us to just try a little bit harder, take it one layer deeper. And that's also when things get really fun. So kind of goes hand in hand with the last one.
Be innovative, be innovative, be innovative.
Okay, number 4.
That's going to be our new intro. Number 4. Oh, is this coming back?
No,
okay.
do not.
So number 4, I'm going to keep this real brief. So again, to recap: balance, spirit of excellence, growth mindset, and service oriented. And what I just put under there under service oriented is others over self. Boom shakalaka.
Mic drop. It's a good one.
I can't drop the mic because it's connected to the table.
Yeah.
Because I'm innovative.
Yeah. Okay, our last one is practice thoughtfulness. We write with empathy and consideration, wit and poise, always putting the reader's needs first. We care about the client experience, building relationships, and generally being good stewards of all that we're entrusted with. So this one for me comes down to, why are you laughing at me?
I just say such a copy, like you're so well spoken.
You know, just really make every word count. Every word has its place. But yeah, practice thoughtfulness allows me to just, again, in the decision-making parts of the day, to really think, who does this decision affect? You know, who wins with this decision? Who might feel shorted with this decision or left out? And so it's just, again, that extra layer of consideration that we bring to things to just try to really serve people well and, you know, make it a positive experience overall.
Awesome. So what were your 4, Kaitlyn?
They were make it fun, be innovative, practice thoughtfulness, and remain steadfast.
All right. And mine were balance, spirit of excellence, growth mindset, and service oriented. I'd highly recommend the book Traction. If you can't define your own core values, don't worry, you're not alone. But I would highly recommend that you take some time to think through what they are. And there is no wrong approach, right? So again, if we're talking about problem solving, just start sitting down, write out your own, maybe dwindle it down to 3 to 7 guiding principles that again act as your I almost said seahorse because I'm looking out the window and the lady reminds me of a seahorse, but lighthouse.
The lady reminds
I don't know, man.
What?
I don't know. I was thinking of the sea, and then she started walking.
Interesting.
Guiding principles act as your lighthouse.
Yeah. Shameless plug. One of our programs.
Here you go, talking about your products again.
If they're a business owner and they're working on their core values in scope with like developing their positioning and their messaging, we do have a program called Vine to Voice that does also offer a few ways and avenues of kind of working through that and developing a brand messaging style guide. So you can check that out at copyandcork.com if you're interested. Anyhow, we would love to continue the conversation, but we have to run to some Friday evening plans.
So how do you want to close this out? We can sort of keep going like our little book club. You want to tell people what you've been reading lately? The book that you bought?
Oh, yeah. I just, as far as what I've been reading lately, and then we'll...
Because readers are leaders.
I do love that saying because it is true.
It actually is true. People, and me just included, make fun of it. I just jokingly made fun of it. But yeah, readers are freaking leaders and leaders are readers.
The book that I just started is called The Sea We Live In. And it is by someone who used to work in journalism, went into a professorship at Columbia University, and he talks all about narrative theory and the power of storytelling.
What's it called?
The Sea We Live In. But he brings in like all of the scientific and psychological studies, and he's just explaining storytelling in just such a deep and unique way. So I'm only probably like 30 pages in or something. I just started it last night, right before bed. So really excited to finish reading up that one a bit more.
So yep, I'm closing out Traction. I just finished again Scars and Stripes by Tim Kennedy. Highly recommend, and we'll keep you. We'll share all the stuff we're reading, and you can join along with us or not. It's your prerogative. But with that being said, folks, that does it for this episode of Wine Stains. We will see you next time. And again, really quick, where can people find us and all that good stuff?
WinestainsPod.com and on Instagram at WinestainsPod. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to leave us a review. And as always, thanks so much for tuning in. See you next time.
See you next time.